Well, it looks like it's time for part two of this wonderful hospital series by Glitter Cricket. I think the hospital I work for is experimenting on patients. Part two. And if you have not heard part one yet, I'll link it in the description. Make sure you watch that before you watch this, otherwise, you won't know what's going on. Now, let's get back to it. The next day, I woke up to my alarm. I felt like I had only just fallen asleep. I got up, and as I was getting ready, a part of me felt like I'd dreamt the whole thing up. I guess I was trying to rationalize. After a brief moment, I adjusted my thinking and convinced myself I hadn't imagined this. The ride into work was quiet. I didn't play anything. I sat in silence and deep thought. I had no idea what my next move was. I didn't know who to go to with this, or even if I had that option in the first place. Someone there knew something, and plenty of people had reasons to try to keep a lid on this. I pulled into the parking lot and finished my coffee, per usual. I looked at my floor to scan the lights and then the third floor. The third floor still had a light on. It was coming from the other side, but it crept through to the side I was parked on. I got out of the car and went to the cafeteria. I needed more coffee, and I wasn't ready to go to my unit yet. Well, good morning, sweet pie. Want some breakfast? It was Miss Myrtle. She was the cafeteria manager, and she was well past the point of retirement. No thank you, Miss Myrtle. I'm just getting some coffee. I walked over close to her, and in a hushed voice I asked, "Can I ask you a question, Miss Myrtle?" "Well, of course, dear," she said, a little distracted about my changed demeanor. "You've worked here as long as this place has been running, well, pretty much, right? What do you know about what happened on the third floor?" The smile that was permanently etched into her face faded. In the 2 years I've worked here, I've never seen her any other way. She was always cheerful and smiling. "Cass, I don't think that's something we should talk about." "Please, I think people got hurt. Like, a lot of people. I just want to help them." "You don't know what you are up against, dear. This is a battle you won't win. I would hate for something terrible to happen to you." She placed her hand on my shoulder and gave me a look of concern. Just walked away. I hadn't felt threatened by that at all. It was more like she was scared to talk. Someone had something on her, or rather, she knew what would happen if she spoke. I placed $1.50 on the counter, then walked out. When I got back up to my unit, Shana was changing in the locker room. I walked up to her and told her I needed to talk to her. "Something happened here, Shana. Something bad." Shana just laughed. "Something bad happens here every day, Cass. It's a hospital." "No! I mean, I think several people were hurt. Like, experimented on. Against their will." "Did you get any sleep last night? I know yesterday was hard, but sometimes you just have to sit in the car and have a good cry after a shift. I let it out and try to move on, you know?" I went up to the third floor. "The third floor? Is this some kind of joke? Who put you up to this? Mike?" I stared at her. I wasn't playing, and I needed her to realize that. "Cass, what do you mean? How did you even get up there? You don't have access." Her face was serious. I had finally gotten her attention. "Well, I guess I do have clearance because I got up there. I heard something yesterday. After you all had gone, I had charting to finish, so I stayed after. Second shift was so busy, I was charting in here. I heard something above me. Something loud. No one was around. I thought maybe I should go look." "Are you insane? Why would you do that? Do you know how much trouble you could get into? The third floor is forbidden. All else aside, at the very least, it's dangerous. It's not up to code." "Listen to me, Shana. I found files. Lots of them. I looked at one. This patient was tortured. And not only that, it was documented. These people, whoever were in charge of this, they made it happen. This wasn't something natural. They made her suffer. And her picture. She had words carved into her skin and..." "Stop it, Cassie. Stop it. You're gonna get us fired." She looked at me and took my hands in hers. "Look, I'm not saying you didn't find that. I'm not saying I don't believe you. But whatever is up there needs to be left up there. Do you understand? It's not our place." I looked down at my feet for some time, and as I looked up to meet her gaze, I felt a warm tear run down my cheek. She was a little girl, Shana. Her expression changed, and now she seemed to understand the gravity of the issue. Shana was in her 60s. She had 5 children and 3 grandchildren. She had moved over here when she was 16 from Mexico in search of a better life, and she had made one. She was a devout Catholic and she had a good soul. She had taken me under her wing when I got here, and I saw her as a mentor. We even got together for dinner sometimes. What do you want to do, Cass? I want to go back. I need to grab some of those files. Maybe take them and go somewhere I can study them. I want to get to the bottom of this. I want justice for her and whoever else was subjected to this. She let go of my hand and slid her hands into her pocket. Tonight, I'll ride up with you and keep watch. I'm not getting out though, Cassie. I'm not. You don't have to. If you at least watch for me and help me cover my ass if I get caught, that's all I need, I said with gratitude. Just meet me by the back elevator after report today, okay? She nodded and walked out. A part of me felt bad. Bad for dragging her into this. Bad for sharing this drama with her. But in the same aspect, I felt like I could be more productive if I had someone to help me. I knew I could trust her. The shift went by faster than any other shift I had ever worked, maybe because I knew what was coming. I waited at the back elevator for about 10 minutes. Just as I was starting to get restless, I saw Shana shuffling around the corner. Where have you been? Well, David was my relief, and you know he takes 45 minutes to receive report. Plus, I ran out to my car to grab these, just in case. She held up a rosary. I started to say something, but then I thought to myself, what the hell could it hurt? And we got in. I hit 3, swiped, green light, and up we went. I don't understand how your card even works, she said. Before I could respond, we were there. The door opened. We looked at each other and said, go! I ran down the hall towards the light. I turned the corner so fast I almost tripped. The file and the picture were still on the floor where I had dropped them. I grabbed them up, and I opened the drawer and grabbed as many as I could hold. Hurry! Shana yelled. She sounded terrified. I ran back down the hall, and before I was even halfway, I could hear Shana screaming in pain. I got to the elevator and ran in, hitting the closed door button. I looked at Shana. Her hand had smoke coming from it. The rosary had been burned into her skin. What happened, Shana? Oh my God, what happened? The burns were 3rd degree. Diablo! Diablo! She screamed. She kept screaming over and over again. Diablo! We got to the ground floor, and I couldn't get her out of the elevator. She had backed into a corner and was sitting down, staring at her hand in horror. I shoved all the files in my backpack and got down on my knees to tend to her hand, and with the force a human shouldn't have, she shoved me back. Hard. I went backwards and out of the elevator. It started to close and I yanked my leg out of fear it could get caught. The doors closed. I got to my feet and hit the button several times, but nothing happened. I waited in the parking lot for an hour and Shana never came out. I got into my car and started calling her. No answer. I drove home and sat on my bed for a long time. What had happened up there? Where was she now? I tried calling once more. Voicemail. I texted her. Shana, please text me. I'm so worried. I don't know what happened and I'm scared. Please tell me you're okay. Just please talk to me. I'm so sorry for dragging you into this. I decided to open up a file.
Patrick Witt, September 20th, 1973. 0900. Subject has shown signs of an altered mental state. Subject has been placed in solitary confinement with subject Hardy. 0945. Subject Witt has been informed his meal privileges have been revoked. Subject has been given an ultimatum of starving or fighting to the death for food. 1012. Subject has begged us for release, one or both of them. 1300. Subject has become irate. 1420. Subject has been crying and pleading for release. 1650. Subject Witt has been ordered to kill Subject Hardy.
I closed the file and stood up, throwing it onto my bed and backing away from it. They were forcing these patients to harm each other or themselves, like a sick game. I bent over and threw out my dinner. I felt disgusted. Then my phone chimed. I walked to my bed to grab it, and I was happy when I read and saw it was from Shana. I swiped open to see her response. I screamed as soon as I opened it. The adrenaline went coursing through every fiber of my being. It was a picture of Shana's lifeless body. She was lying in the room where I had taken the files, clutching the rosary, written across her left arm. Save me. Guys, this is only part 2 of an amazing multi-part story. Again, all the author's information will be in the description, and make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for part 3.